Hi there. Welcome to Tech Talk Weekly. I'm Bob from Creation Station. This is our weekly show where we give you 3 or 4 interesting tech topics in the news, get you on your way in about 20 minutes. By the way, I always mention the email address. Did you know every single episode has a survey link built into it at the end? So you can click and not even have to email or give us anything. Just click and leave us an anonymous feedback on our regular surveys to tell us, did you like the show? Did you not like the show? What's going on with that? My guest was in and crashed, and he is about to re-log in again. So I'm going to get started, and then Seth from Main Library here is going to join us as soon as he can get the images and everything sorted out there. Our first story is all about Starliner, because that's what it's been for months, right? At least since June. So here is the latest update. You might have heard there's a crazy noise coming out of the Starliner. Oh no. And there was. And it was a bad thing if it would have been one of two options. So they were very worried about this because it could have been a sound coming from those now infamous thrusters. And that would be a very bad thing, because if those thrusters automatically start with that by some kind of software glitch or something, that would shift the whole space station. So very bad. Turns out, no, it was an audio link that was open, and it was just getting feedback, just like your speakers and microphones and such out there that you run at home, and they were just getting a feedback wobble, wow, 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 going on. Wasn't that nice, huh? There we go. Do we have Seth in? Seth looks like he is. Yes, Seth made it back. See, he's ingenious. He's got this down.
Yep. So sorry about that.
No worries. So Seth, tell us about what you do at Main Library, and then we'll go jump back into our space station story here.
Well, I am a librarian 1, which I actually don't 100% know what that means, but I'm in adult services, so I handle reference and such for adults specifically, so adult fiction, adult nonfiction.
So covering like 3 different floors at Main Library.
Yeah, I'm actually in charge of specifically games and sports, literature. That's late 700s and 800s respectively, and fiction from S to Z specifically.
Oh, nice. Spreading all out over the place. See, folks, people you have to be flexible to be able to do this in the library. And he was able to fix his technical difficulties and get on the show that fast.
Less technical difficulties. My browser would not cooperate, so here I am via cell phone.
It works. So we were just talking about the sound coming from this up at the space station there.
Yeah.
And so Starliner, they did figure out that it is an audio issue. Mm-hmm. And Starliner, in theory, is coming home tomorrow morning.
All right.
Friday.
And that is...
September 6th, maybe. Yeah.
And that is the Starliner capsule itself. The astronauts have already made it home, correct?
No, the astronauts are still up there. They're going to stay there until next spring. And one of the reasons for that is because spacesuits. The spacesuits that they wore for the Starliner are not appropriate to wear for the SpaceX Dragon capsules to bring them back. And so they have to wait to shift around and reconfigure seating in a capsule and everything. So it's going to take another couple months, but everybody is safe. Nothing looks wrong, and we'll find out tomorrow morning, very, very early. If you're in the East Coast time zone, it'll be like 3 in the morning that somebody will be doing that. There was also, just today, a piece of an asteroid. So a small asteroid hit the Earth today.
Oh, this one.
What's really cool about this is they found out about it before it hit the atmosphere. And this is only the 9th time they've ever been able to pull this off, which is great. So they found out about it less than 24 hours. I want to make sure I get that number right. Where is my thing here? Yes. So they determined it less than 48 hours before it was going to hit Earth. And
Mhm.
then, as expelled, stop with ads. And then, as expected, it did hit Earth.
Yeah.
It burned up. They've got some very pretty pictures of it as it exploded over the Philippines,
It was
and there was no damage.
everyone says it was green. Does that mean that it was made of copper?
Not necessarily copper, but some of those types of minerals, yes.
Mm.
So the different types of minerals that are in an asteroid, a meteor, as it hits the atmosphere, it becomes a meteor. And it did not hit the ground, so it did not become a meteorite.
Mm.
The different types
Happens.
of elements that are part of the meteor mixed with what part of the atmosphere it hits and how fast at what angles. So there's a lot of complex chemistry stuff going on that creates
Mhm.
all the different colors, which is why we talk about it on the show when there's like, hey, go see the Perseids and stuff, because you're going to get lots of different colors from different types of rocks that hit at the same time. And you can get this really amazing star show out there. So
Mm.
it's a lot of fun. And of course, we have all those links in the show notes for you to go highlight those. Did you get a chance to go out and look at any of the meteor showers this past summer, Seth?
No, unfortunately, I haven't been able
Yeah.
to. I don't think I live in an area actually that has good
That is the key thing,
sky
right?
viewing.
We don't. It's about an hour and a half north, and
Oh,
since the
yeah, definitely not.
prime viewing time is about 1:30 in the morning for the last episodes that we had, yeah, I passed on it because driving up there, seeing them for a few hours, and then driving back to go to work effectively is just, I think I'm beyond that stage at this moment in my
Yeah.
life. But it's fun. Now, here is something else that I want to highlight here.
Oh my
Cell
god.
phones do not cause cancer. Period. End of story. Um, this is the most definitive study yet. And it is not just a single study, it is a group of studies. They studied all of the various studies over the last 20 plus years, examining all of the possibilities of radio waves coming out of your cell phone, where
Mhm.
they would be hitting your head, how they would be hitting your head, Bluetooth radiation, etc. All of these various things.
Mhm.
And the World Health Organization has definitively said there is no evidence, period, of it causing cancer.
And so it's a cumulative study of
Yeah,
every other study, and
exactly.
they said they all say the same thing. Enough.
Yeah. And there are some outlier studies that seem to indicate there might be something wrong. And it turns out those studies had either a very limited number of people in them, and so they weren't a
That yeah,
qualified study. It
sample
was
size error.
sample size is a very important thing.
Mhm.
Or one of the studies out of the UK actually failed to account for people getting older and getting more cancers and other tumors and such also at the same time. And when you compare that to the baseline of everybody else, the effect disappears. Which brings me to this next one for you, Seth.
Oh yeah, this one. Yep. The
So
funny.
there's a new study, maybe kind of, that says if you're a smoker or if you have diabetes, using a cell phone can increase your chance of heart disease.
Mm.
So this is one study. It is not definitive. It is
Mhm.
suggestive of this. But I'm going to guess, Seth, tell me, what do you just see in this headline as a possible idea of why this might not be an accurate study?
Let's see. Hmm. I'm gonna say it's like, hey, it can do this,
Mm-hmm.
and so can basically everything else that exists ever.
Exactly. One of the key problems with this study, and this is something that people are going to be researching more of because we all need to be doing this. It's not that the cell phones cause this, which
Mhm.
is a very misleading thing everybody wants to throw out there. It's the fact that, oh, if you are a smoker or if you have diabetes, you are more likely to be sedentary. And if you're more likely to be sedentary, you're watching stuff on your phone or interacting on your phone more. And so that makes you even less sedentary, which leads you to heart disease. So it's not that it's the phone causing any of this. It's the side effect of using the phone more because you already are sitting too much. And now you're using the phone more. And so it's causing you to sit more, which means you get a higher risk of cardiovascular disease, which causes, yeah.
So it's basically just stating the not necessarily obvious, but like kind of, if you think about it for a couple of minutes, duh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And one of the key things that I wanted to point out, and why I was just like, how'd this study come out the same day? This topic right here, where it's from their author claiming that cell phones emit radio frequency waves that can disrupt complex organs. And it's like, no, we just had a previous study come out that said, no, that's wrong. So the reason I wanted to share it on the show is for that twofold reason. One, yes, pay attention to these things and be healthy. Go walk. Don't sit around on your couch watching TV or hanging out on your cell phone all day. Get up and walk around a little bit. 15 minutes a day is really 15 to 20 minutes is all you really need, as long as it's all at one spot, doing one full 15-minute thing at once. And the other thing is, be careful when you're reading these headlines and reading these studies, because all of a sudden it becomes very apparent that, hey, wait a minute. Yeah, if you already have trouble walking and you are sedentary, yeah, you're going to get heart disease because you're sedentary. And so...
breaking news, thing that makes problem worse. Exactly.
So one of the advantages of this study was that they did use a large number of people. And so this isn't some just quack. I don't want to give the impression this is some quack study that was just thrown together hastily to make a point. But how they do their statistics and how people report on the results of a study are very important also. So, yeah. But everybody's favorite topic out there.
Oh, here we go.
AI, hooray. So what we're gonna do is so if you're only listening to the episode today, you're gonna miss out on this next story. The links are in the chat though, as always. So please feel free to go back, click on the link. This is Tom's Guide. They are a very, very good site for all sorts of technology stuff, for reviews, for comparisons and such.
The amount of times they've helped me fix some random thing with my computer.
Yeah. Oh, everything. Or just picking out what is the correct device to buy. What's the right thing? How long will this keyboard last for me? Oh, this one's got a bad reputation. Yeah, they have got some amazing stuff on this site. So they went together and they took the top 7 AI image generators and compared them with different on the exact same prompt, and then compared all of them to show you what each one looks like. So I'm going to go through and look at these really quickly. And so this top one right there, that young lady talking on the video, 100% full AI generation.
It's okay. It looks a little uncanny, but like not the worst thing I've ever seen.
Yeah. It's not the worst, and it's getting really well done. Let's go down and just go down. So here's prompt number 1 from Midjourney, creating the woman here, and that is, by the way, I'm gonna only for this one prompt, I'm gonna read the entire thing out loud to people so they know all the complexity that goes into creating a good prompt.
That's a
An
lot.
ultra-realistic smartphone selfie of a young woman in her mid-20s. The photo has the characteristic sharpness and vivid color of a high-end smartphone camera with slight motion blur on one edge. The image is taken in natural daylight, causing mild overexposure on one side of her face. She has shoulder-length curly hair with grown-out highlights and wears minimal everyday makeup with a slightly smudged eyeliner. Her expression is genuine, slightly lopsided smile with a hint of tiredness around her eyes. She's wearing a comfortable, well-worn graphic t-shirt with a faded band logo. A thin silver necklace is partially tangled in her hair near the collar. The background is a lived-in studio apartment with an unmade bed and a small bookshelf visible. A houseplant with a few yellowing leaves sits on a windowsill behind her. There's a small coffee stain barely visible on the collar of her shirt. So that is a fairly complex prompt to give into one of these things. But that's also a very good example of what prompt engineering is creating very specific, very targeted prompts for these things. So you can see, here's this one picture of her using Midjourney, and it came out very nice. As an image, this is really nice, and this is not something you could do easily if you're not an artist and if you're not familiar with using the top line Photoshop skill stuff. Then you've got Dolly. I kind of like this one, but I dislike it because I don't need AI for this. I just need to hire an artist and they can draw this for me.
Yeah.
This is nothing special. This is not very difficult for an art. Do you think it's too difficult for an artist to come up with?
No, and I recognize Dolly's name as like really old, relatively speaking, old AI, and it's given me some funny prompt results in the past with Dolly Mini, but I guess they refined or something. It's not as funny anymore.
This is good. And one of the reasons we're showing this, you've always got the classic, oh, look for the fingers. How many fingers does it have?
Yeah.
That problem went away for the most part. That's been gone. That it's just a running joke in AI circles right now. Ideogram, which I had never even heard of before. It's an okay image.
Yeah.
It's reasonable. I see the AI parts of it, but it's not an obvious AI image.
Not terribly.
And Free Pick is 100% very much I think this might be AI pick, but it could also just be overusing your filters on your camera on your cell phone picture kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then Flux, which is definitely AI to me. And the reason I say that is because it's so perfect-ish. It doesn't know how to make those correct imperfections for a real human.
I'm gonna look on my monitor. Okay,
Yeah.
I thought I actually saw like the eye kind of like being overlaid onto the hair, but no, it's actually like it actually is properly covered.
Yeah. So this is the one that the author liked the most. And I'm like, it doesn't do it for me as an image. It's a pretty image, but as a realistic image, it doesn't do it for me. I think it's that too hyper realistic, uncanny valley thing, like you were saying earlier, Seth.
Yeah.
So I think that's a different one. And then Leonardo, which is just a weird feel for this image. It's like this is a photoshopped image to me.
Yeah.
And then finally, the one that I thought was the best was the one we showed up at the very top. And I really like this one as an image because this looks like it's a real image. You can tell there's some kind of thing going on with it, but it's not too uncanny valley. So you're not quite positive on it. So go
Yes.
look at some of these other images. They are some amazing pictures of things. I love the idea of doing Penny Lane, and in almost all of them, they have the Beatles playing a song.
Sometimes I'm
So
just like, what's he doing standing in the street?
yeah, it's kind of a weird thing. The one that has multiple Big Bens in it, and stuff
I
like
didn't even
that.
notice that. Oh
Yeah.
my god.
So I mean,
We have work to do.
there's a lot of stuff still going on out there. By the way, I am not plugging anything, but next week, before our show next week, I'm sorry, at the same time our show is playing next week,
Mhm.
Oprah's doing a whole show about AI that has gotten some controversy out there.
Yeah.
Um, I'm not recommending you watch the show, but I am recommending you read the article about it because it talks about whether these are unbiased or biased people talking about this topic, which is important.
Mhm.
And finally, really quick story for us. Don't lick your books, Seth.
Funny thing, I do have a book that says lick here for the taste,
Yeah.
but the joke is actually
Yeah.
what this article discusses is ironically enough. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not going to lick any books anytime soon.
Yeah. So here's a fun little article to share. If you're a book person, if you just know book people, share this article with them because the headline's great. Your antique book might be poisoning you.
No, it's
But
not.
your antique book is only poisoning you if you lick it, and handle it with your bare fingertips and then put your fingertips in your mouth and stuff. All these things that you shouldn't be doing if you're older than 4 years old. Sorry. I was just like, this is a cool, funny story, not a real science story.
I mean, I wouldn't let a 4-year-old near an antique book.
I know. I'm like, it's cool, it's interesting, and it's a nice little thing to go out there and put some stuff in. It does have, realistically, there are toxic materials that were used in
Yeah.
the Victorian era and stuff. And yeah, don't pay attention to those.
Right.
We don't have anything like that at the library, folks, that you can get your hands on. We do have some things in special collections, but we're not going to let you touch them.
Yeah.
No.
And the vinegarizing microfiches.
Oh, that's a whole nother archive chaos story. Yeah, someday we'll find a story about that one of these days. We'll talk about that. Thank you for fighting through the tech difficulties and getting on the show with us, Seth.
Yeah, it was a pleasure.
And if there is a library or librarian you want to see featured on the show, our email, creationstation@broward.org. We'll see everybody next week. Have a fun time.